Okay, so this video is going to focus on the online materials that are associated with this class. So this is something that not only the online class has to do, but also my on-campus classes do. So for your Connect assignments, which are due Sunday at 11:59 p.m., if you want to just go straight there to each assignment, and the due dates are listed here. So the first one is on September the 2nd, or whichever date yours is. I know my night class is on a shorter schedule, so theirs is a whole lot faster. And then each one has a particular due date. So they are due at that date regardless of what we're lecturing on. So sometimes we might be doing a chapter in Connect that is before we lecture on the chapter in class. So again, because you don't get counted wrong for doing those you don't get penalized for getting a question wrong. They just ask you again. So, even if you don't really understand it, but you at least can go back, and if you get the question wrong again, they'll pop up this little thing where it's going to take you exactly to the part in the textbook where the information for answering that question. So you should be able to do that homework. The big L's, those are your labs. Those labs, again, are going to take some hours to get done. So you don't have to do everything at one time, but it's still going to take you some time to make sure you finish up those labs. I'll show you them in a little bit, actually doing the labs, because, there's a bunch of instructions and stuff that goes with it. So making sure that you follow the instructions correctly will help you not only have to only do it once in order to get a very good grade, but also keeps you from taking hours upon hours upon hours to do the lab. So everything's there. You have 3 labs for AP1, and then a bunch of other ones that are 5 points, that just for your different chapter questions. Okay, so another way to access your Connect material, also going to your assignments. So you're going to click the McGraw-Hill Connect page link on the left, then go to my Connect section. So if this weren't my, okay, this is perfect. Okay, great. So mine's already connected, but I'm in student preview, so I didn't realize who I was. So in order to do Connect, you can register, so you'll actually set up your own little account. So you can use whatever email. So if you don't want to use your school email, you still can use your own personal email. It doesn't matter, because it's still going to be connected through Blackboard. And then you'll make up your own password. Again, if you're using whatever email, you might want to use the same password as that email, so you don't forget it. You'll also enter in that Connect code. So let me hit register. Kind of fake go through this. So you'll put your email in. So I'm just going to make up some stuff. Nope. That's probably not going to go well. Okay, so you'll make your little account. So email address, and you'll type it again. Your password, this is something that's going to be your password just for entering in stuff. And of course, you can save the password, so you don't have to do it every time. But again, if you want to use the password that you normally use for your email, that's a good way. You don't have to remember a new one. So put your name in there, security question, of course, blah, blah. Text alerts, I don't know what that's for. Hopefully, maybe they'll alert you to your homework that you need to do. I don't know. Anyway, so you'll probably hit continue, and then it's going to ask you for that code that came with your textbook. So that card that was wrapped in with your lab book as well as your physical textbook. There's a little card with a little gray space, kind of like a lottery scratch off. So you'll scratch off those numbers. Don't scratch too hard. And that's the code. If you do not have that code, so let's say you are borrowing your friend's textbook or something, that's where you can buy it from the company. So let me get back out of this. Okay, so once you've registered and got to the Connect page, this is what it looks like. So all your assignments are here. So there shouldn't be oh, I didn't see it. Yes, it's there. And the due dates are also there on there. So, you know, just because you did one thing this week doesn't mean you're not doing 2 things on this week. And here's 2 more things on this week, 1 thing on this week, 1 thing on this week. So it just depends. Okay. So there are your assignments. Again, they are due at a particular date. So you'll just click on, I'll show you that in a second. Click to do your assignments, and I'll show you how to do that later. There is a online version of your textbook. So, you know, even if you go to grandma's house for Thanksgiving or whatever, and hopefully if she has internet, or you just have it yourself, you're still able to access your textbook, and so you're not carrying around your textbook with you. There's also a practice atlas, that's new, for looking at like your different pictures and being able to identify your structures. And this last part, kind of cool, is your anatomy and physiology revealed. So it's like a digital dissection tool. So you can pick a particular module or learning section. So let's go muscles. Then over here, this little knife right here, you can click that knife and do a literal dissection on it. And there's some other stuff. So we have animation. You also have histology, which is looking at microscope pictures. So you can select a topic. So I'm going to do abdomen just randomly. You can either point out different ones. So it highlighted it in purple. And then what's kind of cool on this area where it shows your layers. So you can add the skin back or take the skin away. Then you have multiple layers, and eventually you're going to peel off layers until you get to the skeleton. So peeling off this external oblique muscles, and unfortunately it's still highlighted. Hold on. Unhighlight. Okay, well, it's still highlighted. Oh well. Go down. Okay, so now we've exposed even more area looking at our rectus abdominals here. Then cutting off a deeper layer. So now we're actually looking at kind of the back. So we've actually entered in, no, that should be internal. Yeah, that's internal obliques. So underneath, kind of like almost like a corset for your, there we go, corset for your abdomen region. Anyway, so here's muscles all the way in the back region. So you've peeled off everything. Last layer, whoops, that's your skeleton. So everything's all nice and gone. So you can do this with all your different structures, with your different organ systems. You can also do the skeletal one. So we have one here to do your skeleton. There you go. Oh, there's module, dissection, topic, head, neck. So you can use this. There's also a free one for Android, an anatomy one. I think it's just anatomy or anatomy physiology, real simple name. That was pretty good for looking at your, okay, for some reason this isn't working. Looking at your different bone structures. Actually, I'm going to go to, let's go to interior. So you can actually point out your different bones. So let's go like our frontal bone. Very simple. Why is it not? Oh, there it is. So it's highlighting it now. Then, for example, the coronal suture, which is top. So it's actually showing that. So it's just another structure you have. Sorry, I was testing to see if you can rotate it. Guess you can't. Okay, in the apps you can. There's also some that you pay for, and some of them are okay. Apple, I don't think yet we've found one where you didn't have to pay for it. Sorry. Okay, let me get out of this. And I'm going to move into actually looking at the online Connect material. So because this is a website, if you, instead of having to go through Blackboard, then click the link to get to Connect, you can actually save this as a shortcut. So this will work for this semester only. So for AP2, you're going to have you're going to have to set up your shortcut to the website again. So anyway, here's your assignment. So you're going to click on the assignment itself. Okay, so you're going to click here. There's actually should be a blue arrow here. Unfortunately, because this assignment isn't open yet, because it doesn't open until tomorrow. So it has a lock, like it's locked and can't get to it yet. So I'm going to have to get out of student view to get to it. But here's where you start your assignment. So you click the little blue, what's going to be arrow on the side to start your assignment. So in this region. There you go. Okay, so we're now in my faculty instructor view, so I'm just going to click it from there. Okay. Okay, so I've opened up the Chapter 2 assignment, so it also includes the ability to read from the digital textbook. What I will make sure that you need to do when you're doing your Connect assignments is make sure that you have the latest edition or latest version of your Adobe Flash Player. So if you don't know what that is, put it into Google, put Adobe Flash Player update, and it can take you straight to the Adobe website so you can get the free Flash Player. And that allows you to use a lot of graphics. That's actually very common on different websites. If it shows up and it's going to be let's say you need to update or you don't have the Flash Player, this screen would be gray, and then there's going to be a little tiny box telling you to get your Adobe Flash Player, or you need to allow the website to have access to your Flash Player so that it can work. So use those to get to your, make sure that your assignment's going to pop up correctly. Okay, so here again, your little virtual textbook. So going through, they actually also highlight stuff for you guys. So, or maybe, I thought they used to. Okay, maybe they got rid of the highlights. Okay. Anyway, so there should be some highlights on there. See, next highlight. It does take it a second to load stuff. Okay, so it does put highlights on there. So even though that's not only what you need to know, but at least it, definitely has some like very important points that's there. So everything from your textbook, it's just the kind of digital version. So just in case, your textbook, you put in your backseat in your trunk of your car and your trunk leaks, and so your textbook is now ruined, at least you still have a access to the textbook. Okay, so let's say you are ready to actually practice what you know. So you've read through the chapter. I do recommend you at least reading through the chapter, even if you don't understand everything. Here to get to the questions is where you'll go through practice. Okay, so some of them are multiple choice and some of them you actually have to type in the word. So spelling is important here. So let's put chemistry for our answer. And then I know it, I think so. That just helps the thing. Okay, biochemistry, whatever. Kind of like figure out where your knowledge is and where you think you are, and kind of help make some adaptations to the questions and how it presents stuff to you. So here we have our incorrect answer. It's actually saying that's incorrect. It should have been biochemistry instead of chemistry. Oh, well. So it's going to ask me that question again. But again, if you get a question wrong, it's not going to penalize you. You just have to answer the question correctly next time. Okay, let's see. So this question, so it's hydrophilic. So this one's a multiple choice one. Okay, so it's green. Answer correct. So I can pass on to the next one. So eventually you keep going. So some of them are something that you type in. And you keep going, so you'll go through all your different questions. Again, it's set at should only take you 30 minutes. If you at least generally know the information, it will take longer if you're missing questions or you have to stop, read about it, so that from here you can read what you need to know so that you actually answer the question correctly. Okay, so let me get out of that. So at the bottom it actually has your number of questions that you have left. Okay, so next I'm going to go into one of the labs. Again, use the little blue boxes that were on the side to access the information. Unfortunately, I can't do that in student view because it's not open yet. Okay, so here's our lab. I'm going to open it. Okay, so again, for your labs, especially making sure that your Adobe Flash player is updated. Oh, and there she is.
The diffusion in different media experiments will let you investigate how concentration gradients affect the rate of diffusion and how molecules...
Okay, so the other lady voice you just heard, so up here, they, gave her face just to be personalized. But she's actually going to give you instructions on how to do things. So this is definitely one of the things where it's like, okay, I'll just ignore her and get to my work that I need to get done. No, pay attention to the instructions. Because if you do something, either let's say it could be as simple as not throwing away something correctly or forgetting to do one little small step, then it could not only either mess up your experiment or you end up with missing points because you didn't do it. So on the side, it kind of gives you a general overview of what you'll be doing. And so you'll start up here with the core concept. So there's different questions that you'll start off answering.
A couple of fundamental concepts about diffusion. You'll be able to work more efficiently in the labs.
Okay, so it's going to... So she'll go through different information so that you understand why you're doing what you're doing in the lab. Continue. So, okay, so there we go. We have questions that you'll do before you actually start the experiment. And that way you're telling the program that you understand what you're doing so that you can actually get to the experiment part. So this is just like when you do your review section for your different parts for your lab exercises. So on your syllabus, or at least the schedule, it actually says what exercise we're doing. So going ahead and filling out these review questions and all that information for the review question are located in the text for the exercises. So you're still able to at least get that information even if you don't know it just from automatically from class or if you've forgotten whatever. Anyway. So you're going to answer the questions here again, similar to your chapter ones. So you keep going through your questions, and let me get through this quickly. Here for this section, you'll have this overall mastery here on the top corner. So that lets you know how much you've actually done for the section. So for each section, you're going to have a mastery level. So you know once you get to the end of which section has to be redone, or this is why even though you think you're done, it's because you haven't finished something. So sometimes people have done the experiment, but then forgot to do the post questions. And so that's why they didn't get all their points. So let me quickly get through these questions and I'll come back.
Diffuses through water. You will determine the diffusion speed in a liquid and compare it to that of agar.
Oops. Okay. Sorry.
And a crystal to the petri dish.
Okay, so you might have missed this and I can't remember where I accidentally hit the wrong button. Oh well. So on your diffusion lab, there's one that said that had one box that popped up that said not assigned. You will not do that one. There's two that you will do. So the first one that was in the middle that had the yellow box around it, that's this one that I pulled up. Of course, our little young lady popped up again, giving us more instructions, telling us what exactly to do. So let's say maybe, you're doing this at night and your kids sleep, and so you don't have her playing the sounds that you need. What you can do is down at the bottom. There's your instructions. So again, going through instructions, making sure that you're doing your experiment exactly the way you need to. Okay, so for this one, telling me to put distilled water in there. Then I'm going to take this little tweezers, grab a crystal, put it in there. And of course, we don't have time to actually really do this experiment, so we're going to speed up time. So here are these little buttons where you can hit fast forward. Go things a lot faster. This actually, so we're going fast forward through here. So that 5 minutes able to do this. And this one, it's not an exact science, unfortunately.
Measure the outermost diameter of the diffusion spot. Remember to record your measurements in the notebook.
So it's kind of an estimate, and it's not very specific on what they're considering the most outermost layer. And especially if you're having issues seeing the very small bits on that, then it might be a little difficult to do so. So let's go. Time, so we'll put like 5, let's say 6 minutes almost. And then your diameter, so I can move him out the way. Look at this again, put that out the way. So almost 4.5 centimeters, which is 450 millimeters. It's not 400, 45. So each one of these little hash marks is a millimeter. Each centimeter is equates to 10 millimeters. So you'll calculate the diffusion rate also for this using this little equation down here. Diameter times time times 60 minutes. Definitely pull out your calculator for this one. Okay, so you're going to take your diameter, which is our 45 millimeter estimate. So again, your timer is still going, by the way. So your diameter per whatever your time was. So this is when you divide those two, you're going to get how much per minute is going, and then by multiplying it by 60 minutes, you're going to get your rate for an hour. So on this one, oops, did I hit that? Hold on. So I calculated it to be 450 millimeters per hour. So you're going to do that too again. So minimize our little lab book where we're writing down stuff, and then we're going to do this again. Fast forward 5 more minutes to make it even larger. Do 2 more minutes just to make math easy. So I'm going to roughly, I think it's out here. It's about 6 or 6.5 maybe. I'll do 6. That's close enough. Okay, so here 6 centimeters roughly. So it'd be about 60 millimeters. So again, going back to the notebook and putting in our information again. Okay, so I put the information again. Done with that. So once you're done, you should hit in experiment. Okay, she's not talking. Then you'll talk about, they'll go through questions, making sure you understood what happened. So, you can answer those questions. I'll come back after I do those. So once you finish your questions at the end of the experiment, it's actually going to show your different scores. So just for your lab section, then I'm going to hit go back to your simulator. It's actually here at the bottom. So each of those sections just for that experiment. So you still have one more experiment to do. So our overall mastery score is still only at a 33%. So we're not completely done yet. Okay, so back to simulator.
The average diffusion rate
Oops.
over the first 15 minutes is 50.
So just realize that back to simulator means that you're actually going back to redo the lab. So let's say maybe you got a score on your lab skill that you want it to redo. You can redo the experiment and that way so that you can go back and improve your score. Now I didn't redo the lab, so that's why all of this is in orange and is, what are we doing? Orange with those 0 scores, but you know, still gives you a kind of inclination of how well did you do. So let me click more instead. There we go. Shucks, did not repeat it. Okay, whatever. Anyway, so we're going to finish. Score will be maintained. Okay, so let's say you redo it, and let's say you end up getting worse. So actually, they'll keep the previous score that you did better on that. So I'm going to hit continue just to keep going. Okay, so we've done this one. This is green. Our score is 100 on that one. So we're going to move to the next one, do that experiment, and I'll come back after I finish a bunch of stuff with that. Okay, so for example, in this one, you actually have to label everything so you know what the materials are. Of course, she's given instructions and gone through the kind of preview, and shows you, like, to let you know that you know what those equipment pieces are. So you'll drag the label from here on the side until you get it to the little blue dot. So that way it'll link up. So again, you're working with the computer program, so you have to do it the way that it understands what you're supposed to be doing. Okay, so again, once you finish your experiment, then it's going to ask you questions so that testing you to see if you understood what happened in the experiment. Again, once you end the experiment, it's going to show how well you did for each section of that experiment. Currently, master level is only at 50%, so again, still having more work to do. So going down to the bottom where it says more, so if you, let's say, if you need to repeat something, maybe you didn't do so well, clicking back to simulator helps you redo that. If not, we're just going to keep going on, click more. So done all this stuff using the scroll bar for that. So let's hit finish. Hopefully that works. Okay. Okay, so there should be some questions. I'm guessing because I am in like this random instructor view where I can't do everything that's the students can do, even though it's like the student view version. There should be some questions at the end that will make sure that your score goes all the way up to 100%. So that's where you'll know what your score is going to be. So for example, let's say hypothetically I stopped here and I didn't do anything else with this this lab. So let's say, oops, I forgot to come back to it, or got busy or whatever. Well, since the mastery score is only at 50%, then my score would only be half of that 10%. So wherever your overall mastery score is, it's that percentage of 10 points is going to be your score. Okay, last little bit about the YouTube channel. For YouTube, you just have, all you have to do is put my name in to the search bar, and not only my channel will pop up because that's what I named it, and then some of the videos also, but click here and you can search through the videos. And playlist, let me try that, sorry. Okay, so if you click over on this little side bar where it says playlists, I actually have 2 different playlists, so that way it keeps them organized. So for AP1, don't do that. I have them listed so they're grouped away from the AP2 videos. So here's our AP1 stuff, so the stuff that I've gotten done yet, and then of course I'll continue to add more throughout the semester. Also use the search bar to search for the Crash Course channel. So click that. So let's say if you go there, there should be, there it is, down. No, history, science, engineering. Okay, it has a bunch of stuff on here. And anatomy popped up the first time last when I did this. Okay. Let me go playlist. I'll be back. Okay, this time I did Crash Course Anatomy and Physiology. That's a whole lot better. Okay, so videos being there, and they have, of course, limited of, depends on what they have, and of course it doesn't go with our chapters, but does have, like, for example, this introduction one, just dealing with tissues, tegumentary systems such as skin, nervous system, so a bunch of different ones dealing with different parts that we're going to study for AP1 and AP2, and it's kind of in order for what we're going to do. So it keeps everything at least organized for you. So that's another way. And of course, there's a bunch of animations that go along with it. Okay, last little bit. I clicked down here where it says attendance and grade. So you're able to check your own attendance. So as well as your own grades. Of course, we haven't done anything. And this is just a blank anyway. So the grades listed here, you do have a total box. So able to, as you're calculating how many points you have, the total box should be correct. So calculating that out of the 1050 points for your grade. For each assignment, they're listed out of how many points. So you'll have, let's say if you got all 5 of your points there, then you'll have a 5 out of 5. That happens to be one of those Connect homeworks. So let's say you didn't finish all your questions, so you're still going to get a percentage of the points for what you did at least complete. Okay, last thing are your course messages. They also do pop up on your home screen. But in order to create a message, you can do so here, and then you can tell it to send it to whoever. So this kind of works like a email, not like a text message. So you're going to put the recipient in there. So let's say that person. You can put your subject line. So make sure, again, it's referencing what is in your message. So if you just put so-and-so, I don't know who you are. Well, I'm sorry. If you just put like, okay, this is Paul. I still need to know what your message is about. Again, that helps me prioritize stuff, or if this is something I can easily answer or whatnot. Let's see. Of course, put everything in the body. And again, it's like an email, so write a proper statement for that. Sometimes, let's say if something's going wrong with the Connect and you're like, help me, I don't know what's going on. So if you need to like attach like the screenshot or whatever, you can still attach it that way. You only can attach one thing at a time, by the way. So, unfortunately, that sucks. Okay, let's say you have a question and you're like, okay, is anybody else having this issue, but you don't want to talk to me either? You actually can hit select all. Then I think, no, it's not. Because this is going to go back to me. Okay, so click me, click invert selection. It's going to put everybody on the recipient line and leave me off. So that way you can ask a question of everybody in the class and leave me off. You can also just hit select all and, I'll be also included in that message. Okay, so if you have any questions, again, send me a message during Blackboard or email if necessary. All right, so hopefully you do well in this class. Bye.